It's 7 o'clock right here in Harare, and you're watching Newsplus. I'm your time with Tiniri. Let's take a look at our top stories this evening. President Mnangagwa has arrived in Ghana for a historic 3-day state visit. Our correspondent, Fungi Kwaramba, who is in Accra, is on standby to give us an update. Police have warned of heavy presence during the Easter holidays. That story and more right here on Newsplus. The public continue to give their views on the ongoing Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill hearings. We give you voices from different parts of the country. And in sport, PSL returns with interesting fixtures this holiday after the international break. Stay tuned for an update. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has arrived in Ghana, West Africa, for a 3-day state visit. The visit rides on and seeks to consolidate the deep fraternal relations between the two sister countries. The president was welcomed by his Ghanaian counterpart, His Excellency John Mahama, at the Accra International Airport, complete with full military honors. A state banquet will be held this evening in his honor. The visit features high-level bilateral engagements, including a tete-a-tete talks focusing on enhancing cooperation in trade, tourism, agriculture, healthcare, sanitation, and joint efforts to combat corruption and unemployment. The two leaders will also witness the signing of key memoranda of understanding to advance mutual interests. President Mnangagwa will also tour the Sweden-Ghana Medical Center and the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant and pay homage at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Our correspondent Fungi Kwaramba, who is in Accra, gives us an update.
President Mnangagwa has arrived in Accra, Ghana for a 3-day state visit that will culminate in the signing of bilateral agreements between Zimbabwe and Ghana. The president touched down at the Accra International Airport this evening, where he was received by his counterpart, President John Dramani Mahama. The president was received with full military honors. Upon arrival, the president inspected a guard of honor mounted by the Ghana Armed Forces, followed by a 21-gun salute. The two leaders will attend a state banquet hosted in honor of the visiting President Mnangagwa. In addition, the two leaders will sign memoranda of understanding covering several areas that include tourism, agriculture, and also waste management.
Earlier in the day, before his departure, the president met with the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, who paid him a courtesy call at his Munamatapa offices, where he expressed the country's commitment to upholding human rights legislations that are at par with international standards and practices. The Commission commended Zimbabwe's open prison system, which they said would serve as a model for the rest of the continent. They say they are impressed by the emphasis on rehabilitation and reintegration, and the open prison concept reflects a progressive approach to corrections, one that other African countries can draw lessons from.
The president was very, very constructive, because when we raised the issues related to human rights, we highlighted the fact that he places premium on observance of human rights. I highlighted the fact that there are a plethora of legislations that have been enacted by Zimbabwe or geared towards compliance with international and regional human rights obligations. And he highlighted some of those legislations. This is a very, very, very innovative model of open prison in Zimbabwe, which we don't have in our experience in any part of the continent. It may be available, but we've never had that experience. So it was a very innovative thing, and we shared that with the president to say that this is a model that should be replicated not only throughout the continent, but also countrywide, because we realized that Morondera prison, the open female prison, is a central prison. It's only one in the country. So we are willing that several of those will be applicable to help decongest the prisons.
The delegation is expected to brief the government tomorrow on its findings, including areas of progress and where improvements may be needed. Vice President Kembo Mohadi has called on public service ministers to adopt an integrated, results-oriented approach to ensure efficient delivery of services. Speaking during a meeting with social services cluster ministries, the Vice President highlighted the importance of both individual and collective efforts in achieving broader social sector objectives in line with the government's drive to improve social and economic services. The social services cluster comprises the ministries of Health, Environment, Sport, Labour, Women Affairs, Housing, among others. We give you more in the following report.
The Vice President, retired Colonel Kembo Mohadi, this morning engaged social services cluster ministers, departments and agencies. The engagement seeks to enhance government efficiency, accelerate project implementation and ensure smooth service delivery.
VP Mohadi said social services ministers should step up efforts in serving the people in line with the National Development Strategy 2.
As a social service sector and using the whole of government approach, we adopted a best practice in the form of this monitoring and evaluation economic dashboard in 2024.
He said the social services sector is central to national progress, calling on leaders to work as a united front and be result-oriented.
I call upon every one of us to strive towards integrated solutions to challenges bedeviling our sector in particular and the whole nation in general, as we implement government programs and projects with a view to moving the economy forward.
Central to this push is a new monitoring and evaluation electronic dashboard developed by Bindura University, now rolling out nationwide to track projects, inform decisions and ensure timely action. Sports and Culture Minister Sanyatwe said projects under the cluster must be fully funded for them to make real impact.
Adjacent to the existing culture center in Murewa. However, the project failed to take off as the structural drawings, the BOQs, took time to be finalized. In 2026, the project was retagged for implementation.
The Vice President urged all ministers to seek integrated solutions to address national challenges, noting coordinated action remained key to moving the economy forward and improving the living standards of the country. Reporting for 18 Prime, I am Mirira Nsingo.
Mashonaland West Province has now completed hearings for the Constitutional Amendment No. 3 bill. The consultative process began this Monday across Zimbabwe's 64 districts. Constitutional Amendment No. 3 bill seeks to introduce several key changes, including adjustments to the presidential, parliamentary and local government terms and electoral processes. Our Mashonaland West correspondent Paddington Muguti has more details.
Today, the Parliament of Zimbabwe concludes the public hearings on the Constitutional Amendment Bill No. 3 in Mashonaland West Province. Two teams from the Parliament of Zimbabwe have been leading these public hearings across Mashonaland West Province in all 7 districts to get views on this Constitutional Amendment Bill No. 3.
Wataura vanhu varatidza kufarira program zvinonge zvinotsigira kuti vanhu veZimbabwe vakukoshesa chinhu chiye chatingati participatory democracy.
Kuti vapo mufungiro wavo nenyaya neConstitutional Amendment Bill No. 3 vanga vasiri kutorerwa nguva yekutaura, vanga vachinyatsokupiwa mukana wekuti mumwe nemumwe ataure mafungiro ake nemaonero ake. Ndafara zvekare runyararo rwanga rwuripo panguva iyi pava pasina bopoto kana kukakavadzana, asi vanhu vaingotaura mumufaro, murudo, zvinhu zvikafamba zvakanaka. Asi chandinoziva nechandaona kuti 7 admin districts dzeMashonaland West dzose dziri kugamuchira bhiri zvakanyanya.
Reporting for ZTN Prime in Kazangarare, Urungwe district, I'm Paddington Muguti.
People from Uzumba Maramba Mfungwe have also voiced their views on the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill, with many expressing support for the proposed changes. They also indicated their desire for the amendment process to proceed. The proposal to extend terms of office from 5 years to 7 years received notable support, with many citing the cost of frequent elections on the national fiscus.
My elections, I know we are not paying money. I know this year for Titanwa, Tasawirani. I see Seuzumba Barabaku, she put it development today.
Ndasimuka zvakare chea kuti pano tidzigire kuti mahonorable anga achigotera mutungamiriri wenyika. Zvinodzikisa mari yehurumende iri kubudiswa tichitenderera kuti vanhu vange vachiziva kuti kuchavhoterwa vanhu.
Day 3 of public consultations by Parliament continued in Masvingo province at Marirange Primary School in Chive, where hundreds of people gathered to share their views on the proposed constitutional changes.
ngekuti zvinomuzimbabwe hatitava nomutemo unodzivisa ma-MP kuimpecha president. Saka izvi zvinenge zvakatonaka.
Zikonzero ndezvokuti Parliament ndiyo iri well informed in terms of my responsibilities as executive president. Saka haizovhoti through peer pressure, political peer pressure, kungoti taakusarudza president nje. Inovhota based on information and knowledge yema responsibilities apresident.
Parliament yedu ndo yatakasarudza haivhotere president yoga zvazvititipa basa rokupedza ma-resources when it comes to campaigning. Saka kana zvikadero mari iyoyo inoenda kudevelopment.
You're watching Newsplus. We're going to be right back after these messages.
Rural Electrification Fund, competitive tenders. The Rural Electrification Fund, REF, is inviting bids from reputable bidders for the following tenders. Tender number 1, supply and delivery of solar home systems, various sizes. The closing date for this tender is on the 20th of April 2026. The following tenders have a closing date of 27 April 2026. Tender number 2, supply and delivery of biogas and internal wiring materials. Tender number 3, supply and delivery of various ICT software licenses. Tender number 4, supply and delivery of various vehicle spares and service kits. Tender number 5, provision of REF asset insurance cover for physical assets. Tender number 6, supply and delivery of tents and mattresses. Standard bidding documents availability. Bidding documents are available on the Electronic Government Procurement System, EGP, https://egp.pras.org.zw. Bid submission shall also be done on the EGP system not later than the dates and time provided. Magetsi kumusha, amagetsi ekaya.
Welcome back, and still on Newsplus, there will be heavy police presence during this Easter holiday as authorities seek to reduce crimes and tame accidents on the roads. Police say they will also impound unroadworthy vehicles and arrest all those found on the wrong side of the law and endangering lives. More in the following report.
National Police spokesperson Commissioner Ponyati said they have activated nationwide Easter operations and will deploy officers who will be patrolling during the holiday.
The Zimbabwe Public Police has made adequate preparations in terms of deployment on the roads, in terms of conducting patrols in central business districts, in terms of conducting patrols in residential areas. What we call upon is for Zimbabweans to cooperate with police officers.
With expected increase in the volume of traffic, Commissioner Nyati said there will be no sacred cows on the roads. He said unregistered and unroadworthy vehicles will be impounded as they seek to reduce crimes and accidents.
The police will impound all vehicles which are not certified to be fit to be carrying people from one point to another, and this includes public service vehicles. We want to plead with the transporters, we want to plead with the combi operators. Please make sure that your vehicles are in tip-top condition, and above all, drivers should drive with the road safety responsibility in mind.
He said the police have a zero tolerance to corruption, and their officers will be equipped with body cameras to ensure there is transparency.
If you look at the recently relaunched National Highway Patrol, the team, besides the gadgets to test speeding, to test drunken driving, they also be having these body cameras so that we know what is happening in terms of interaction, in terms of curbing corruption. So definitely the body cameras are in use.
Transport operators have appealed to their members, particularly drivers, to be cautious on the roads and avoid speeding.
We need to have our focus on actually conscientizing and awareness. This is what we've been doing always, where we would want to see the transformation of the mindset of the driver. Let me start with the driver, making sure that those areas, for example, number one, overspeeding, number two, overtaking at a cave, number three, attempting to cross a flooded bridge.
Long-distance passenger transporters are also stepping up efforts to promote safety by assessing the mental state of their drivers ahead of the holiday.
Tikuita ma-refresher courses nema-drivers tichionesana kuti kana uri unyatsonzwa kuti you are not fit to drive, it's good to tell us, then tobva taita sei tawaregedza.
As the holiday fast approaches, the message remains caution, safety and respect of traffic laws to ensure a safe and accident-free Easter. Tafaras Buchiwe for ZTN Prime in Harare.
It was a hive of activity at the Robert Mugabe Square and downtown Harare this morning as learners returned from various boarding schools, marking an end of the first term for 2026. Our ZTN crew caught up with some of the boarders and their parents as they arrived.
The first term of 2026 has come to an end, and the Robert Mugabe Square was this morning abuzz with activity, with parents and guardians welcoming their children from various schools across the country. Now, the major highlights of this term include the imposition of a 5-year jail term for exam frauds, a move aimed at ending exam leaks and cheating. And the government also put a cap on the number of subjects each learner can register for ordinary and advanced level examinations. This term, the government also extended the deadline for O and A-level examination registration. And so for the learners, holiday is the time for a break.
I'm from one, school of rights and my holiday my parents it has been a long time. And same form too, I'm very happy. I'm gonna see my parents, my friends and everyone. And go far and
And parents who missed their children are joyful, buzzing with festive preparations from Easter egg hunts to travel plans. For these boarders, holiday means reconnecting with cousins, old friends and grandparents. It's a time for storytelling and making memories that'll last till schools reopen. What's a nice Ansole ZTN Prime.
Government has rolled out a nationwide social registry survey aimed at strengthening Zimbabwe's social protection systems and improving the targeting of vulnerable communities. The Zimbabwe Social Registry Survey, known as ZISO, is expected to create a comprehensive database of households across the country. The survey is being spearheaded by the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare in partnership with the Zimbabwe National Statistics Agency. Officials say the initiative comes at a critical time. The social registry will serve as a centralized database, helping the government and its partners coordinate interventions.
The information is handy to government because first, the data is going to be used to come up with a social registry where government and its development partners will draw from in order to target households. The information will also be used to come up with social protection policies. The information will also be used for coordination purposes so that everyone who wants to come up with social protection initiatives will draw from that register. Then at the same time, the information will be used to come up with policies, that is policy formulation. The information will also be used for decision making, and it will be used for monitoring and evaluation of social protection programs.
Now, still to come in the bulletin is business and sports news. Stay with us.
I was raised in a family of 4 siblings. We're very musical. We had so much time to practice in the streets. The neighbors always complained. And I remember standing outside my grandmother's house. I would have a talk show with Bricks as my guests. So I think my career choice was a very natural one. My journey with MultiChoice started at Idols. It was so professional. I was so intimidated, but it turned out to be a very fruitful one. From Idols, Our Perfect Wedding Zimbabwe, Chew On, they've held my hand. I'm a proud member of that MultiChoice family. To ignite Africa's creative industries, to me, is what MultiChoice is doing. And they're bringing great, brilliant minds together to tell our African stories and for us to determine the path that we're going to take for the future. It's priceless.
In business, the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Ngqobizitha Ndlovu, presided over the signing of the Industrial Development Fund beneficiaries aimed at boosting value chains and industrial capacity. 5 companies from food processing to construction were selected, with the fund administered by the National Venture Fund of Zimbabwe.
The Industrial Development Fund is designed to bridge critical economic gaps while supporting the growth of local industries across key sectors of the economy.
Through this fund, the government is actively advancing the core pillars of ZNIDP2, including import substitution, value addition and beneficiation, industrial competitiveness, and the development of resilient local supply chains.
The initiative is being driven by the National Venture Fund of Zimbabwe, formerly known as the National Venture Capital Company of Zimbabwe, which has been repositioned to support industrialization and enterprise growth.
NVCCZ has assumed the role of fund manager and administrator with a clear mandate to apply rigorous due diligence, disbursement, and disciplined monitoring of the projects.
The first 5 beneficiary companies span sectors including food processing and construction. These include Glytime Foods, Wakwenene Milling, Longdale Enterprise, Zimbabwe Silicates, and Ubuntu Foods.
Now that you've given us these funds, Honourable Minister, we just thank you for the vote of confidence in our vision to be a regional powerhouse. We thank you for the vote of confidence in our operations and the vote of confidence in the role that we know we play.
We are into healthy
foods, health products. We do cereals, we do oats. Everything healthy is what we do. And from there, we started with 3 employees. Now we have 78 employees. And this is a youth-owned indigenous business, and we're exporting to Zambia, to Botswana, and to Mozambique.
Now, the 100 million ZIG fund will go a long way at enhancing the capacity of startups as well as SMEs operating in Zimbabwe. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Eben Mabunda, Zimbabwe's capital, Harare.
Zimbabwe to host T20 champions India in July. That and more coming up in sports news. In sport, Zimbabwe Cricket have announced that world champions India are scheduled to tour the country for a 3-match T20 international series this July. The matches are scheduled for 23, 25 and 26 July at Harare Sports Club. The tour, India's first to Zimbabwe since July 2024, comes close on the heels of the announcement of Zimbabwe's tour of India for 3 ODIs in January 2027, which will be their first visit to India for a bilateral series since 2002. Zimbabwe Cricket Chairman Tavengwa Mukhuhlane says India tour is part of a busy fixture calendar for the Chevrons ahead of the 2027 Cricket World Cup, which Zimbabwe will co-host along with South Africa and Namibia.
And coming back home now that these tournaments are over, we're looking forward to the tournaments, the series that are coming. India coming in July for a 3 T20 series. Australia coming for a 3 ODI series in September. We're looking forward to Bangladesh also coming, and that is a build-up to the 2027 World Cup that we are co-hosting with South Africa and Namibia.
Caps United's trip to Ngezi is part of a jam-packed Easter fixture calendar. Thursday's other fixtures include FC Hunters hosting ZPC Kariba at Hart Stadium, Triangle welcome Agama to Gibo, Rentals are away to Hard Rock at Chawanda. Champions Scotland are at Ascot for a date with Telwan Bulawayo Chiefs face off with Simba Bora at Barber Fields. Manica Diamonds host Chicken Inn at Green Fuel Arena, and Dynamos clash with Morse at Rufaro. Highlanders versus FC Platinum at Barberfield Stadium is the headline fixture on Good Friday. And that's all we had for you on Newsplus. I'm Itai Mutiniri. The weather update is up next.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. So Erika, like where you're sitting.